Hey, so I've noticed that a lot of people have been, a lot of podcasters have been going on and talking about their theories, and then you have the podcasters that copy off of other podcasters, and they say all these different types of things or their opinions. Ah, and we're talking about the Nancy Guthrie thing, and God bless her. And I sincerely pray from the bottom of my heart, seriously, seriously, I've been praying that the Lord have mercy on her and that she would somehow still be alive. Um, and I've asked the Lord that if she is, give her the strength she needs to overcome this, not to be fearful, but to have a righteous anger in her to say, okay, you've got me, but guess what? I'm going to go to the source of everything, which is God Almighty, who's going to help me and pull me through this. Okay? But anyway, here's my thing. I also heard people dismissing oh, it can't be somebody from, overseas or out of town. Bull crap. Yeah, it can be. Sure, it can. Listen very closely to what I'm going to read. Okay? And it says on here what I was looking into. You know how they stated, I think they said that it was a different or the same IP address, but or the same server, but two different IP addresses and so forth. But anyway, I was looking into little bits and pieces. But this comes back to this, and it says, um, regarding an IP address, it says an IP address assigned in the United States can still be used while you are in a different country, allowing you to access its based services like banking and streaming. All right. But if you're back in the US without a VPN, connecting to local internet in a foreign country will generally assign you a new local IP address. Okay. But then you go to a VPN, and which is virtual private virtual private network, VPN. And it says it's the standard method to maintain a U.S. IP address while traveling. It it tunnels or yeah, your traffic through a U.S. server, making you able to still, like, people will think you're here in the United States when in reality you're not. Any good hacker can tell you this. Any great IT person could tell you these things, right? So I'm just wondering, kidnappers versus person in control of the kidnapping. Who knows? The individual could be out of country, different states. Excuse me. Excuse me. Um, but I got to wondering, you know, why not? Why couldn't it happen? That would be horrible, but it could be. Those are the possibilities. You know, I mean, anyone in law enforcement can go to a narcissist. Yeah, I know all these references to Silence of the Lambs, and I never saw the full movie. I only like caught it at halfway through, and I just thought, yikes, and I've never watched it again in my life. Um, but I do remember, and the only reason I watched it or caught it at the middle was because I liked Jodie Foster's acting abilities to take on a character role and play it as though it was true to life type of character. Anyway, but they kept referencing Silence of the Lambs, Silence of the Lambs. I heard a lot about that, and I thought, why? Well, there were different reasons. One of them is the fact that a narcissist, anybody who knows anything about narcissistic people would tell you that narcissistic people don't get, they are self-righteous people. They're selfish, self-centered, okay? And they're not going to give a hoot about whose mother is who. They're in it for what they're in it for, and they're going to reach their goal one way or another. They're going to get what they want one way or another. They're selfish. It's like a spoiled brat. I want what I want, and this is what I want. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about anybody else. I don't care how I get it, but I'm going to get it. Those are basics. But anyway, then you have what I believe is an organization. I don't know where they were showing bits and pieces of her Facebook page and the people she was interacting with. I was going, you know what? Who knows? Who really knows? But if they're narcissistic, you can sit back and tell them 10,000 times how much you love your mother, how much she's important to you, how kind and thoughtful and loving she can be. And a narcissistic person is going, oh, poor baby. Who cares? That's just their attitude. Where I don't think that it's a Lone Ranger. It may have been a Lone Ranger who conspired and put the plan together. But I believe that there's more than one person, and I also believe that there's a female involved, and I also believe that one of them has medical experience. Number one, they knew she had a pacemaker, so they keep saying, right? Okay, so if you have a pacemaker, well, a lot of things come into play, but one of the things is you don't put them near a microwave. That's for flipping sure that I've heard of anyway. If one person or another has medical experience, then they already knew. Okay, we already know what drugs she takes, so we'll wait for her that night to take whatever last drug she's going to take, which will maintain her for the next 24 hours or until the following day. We just need to duplicate the same medications she's taking. In Mexico, it's very easy to get the drugs. I'm not saying it's Mexican stuff, no. But what I am saying is that truly, that's why a lot of people, any Border Patrol agent will tell you how many times they've had to stop people and made them throw away the drugs that they were bringing from across the border. Because that's how easy it is to get it. Common sense. Then they were like talking about her son-in-law. Yeah, okay, so he was born in Italy. He's lived in Tucson, I don't know, or wherever in Arizona for however long he's been, and he's an educator, and he's into music, and blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't be looking at the son-in-law, per se. But maybe people, if it's an organized thing, and it does come from the side of the son-in-law, it wouldn't be because of the son-in-law. It would simply be the connections to the son-in-law. And he wouldn't be aware of what's going on. Anyway, but then you'd have to do your homework on the mob to understand stuff. Thirdly is that if they really just, if anybody else did their homework, take a good look at who uses Bitcoin more so in the Arizona area. What type of individuals use the Bitcoin more often than not? Who is more invested in Bitcoin in the Arizona area? Cut off all the other states and just focus on Arizona if that's what you're going to do. And you'd be surprised on what groups deal with Bitcoin more so than others. I looked into that. But anyway, that's just me. I have no clue about Bitcoin because I it's not an interest of mine. Um, what else? There's I don't know. People want to say, oh, about the blood. One time, I had bad blood pressure that went up. My blood pressure went up so much that my nose just. I was outside walking, and all of a sudden, my nose just bled, just gushed, all automatically just gushed out blood, and it was like, how unusual! I've never had a nosebleed. This is weird. What's going on with my nose? What's going on with me? And the blood just came out. Um, you know, if she was at the front door, she was probably trying to get away from them. And it's not so much that she had an accident. It could have just been her blood pressure had gone up because of fear. Her anxiety kicked up a notch, you know? And so, and at that point, they probably pulled her back inside, but not before removing the door camera, you know? Or it could have also been that somebody opened up the front door and just removed it from the inside. You don't have to normally stand in front of a camera, a ring camera, or whatever they're called. I can't even think right now because I'm tired. Uh, and they could have just easily, from the inside, pulled that camera off. But yeah, I'm thinking about the blood. So yeah, if it didn't go any further, like to the street, like why didn't it show up here? Why didn't it show up there? Anybody's got blood pressure can tell you that if they have nosebleeds due to the blood pressure, that it's just going to gush out. Just going to go, it's just going to come out without you even expecting it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you bumped your face. Now, that could have been too. But they said that the back door was open. So whoever it was did not come in through the garage. They came in through the back door. So if they come in from the back door, they're lying in wait for her. They could have already been inside of the house. One person could have been already in the house, watching her every move without even her knowing, while whomever it was that was with them may have also been outside waiting for the signal and therefore came in. The first person broke in. The other people followed suit afterwards. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to carry someone with a disability down the stairs, I think they said there can't be stairs. It didn't even look like her house had stairs. I don't know. I don't remember. But either way, if they did carry her out, and they say, and people are saying, well, she was asleep. It was like 2 something in the morning or 1 in the morning or whatever time that they're saying. And I think they said something about 40 minutes, 41 minutes. Why did it take so long? Well, dear God, people, do your homework. A person's got a pacemaker that's attached to your watch. Okay? That pacemaker can be disconnected. And believe it or not, you can literally reconnect that device to a whole new phone through a whole brand new profile. Not the same password, not the same name of an individual. Why? Because if they don't want you to track her, do you honestly believe that they would use her same name and same password and same profile on another phone to reconnect her to her pacemaker? I don't think so, people. I don't. But, what do I know? I'm not in law enforcement. What else came to mind? You know what? If they're believers, then I would say to all believers that know how to pray, don't just say you're praying. Call a fast. Y'all should have already been fasting and praying for this woman. Y'all really should have been. I have been praying for this woman since I heard about this, and I don't even know her. And I don't ever remember watching her daughter on TV either. But, you know, somebody should start fasting. Like, if you're about to go to bed or if you're in bed, don't eat anything. Truly hit your knees. Truly pray. Ask God to reveal that which is in darkness and bring it to the light. To shed a light on Nancy Guthrie. Oof, can't even talk. And pray for her. As though she's one of your own relatives. That's how you are to pray for people. We are to pray for one another like we know them, even though we don't. That's how you're supposed to be praying. And ask God, because God, who knows everything, sees everything. You should know this. As a Christian, people should know these things. But anyway, you have to excuse me because I'm tired. And I know time is ticking, I guess. That's what I kept hearing, on the different things that I was listening to, that they have a deadline tomorrow. Oh, here's one more thing. It just, another thing that bothers me is this. We live in a society and an America where English is still our first language. Thank you, Jesus. But still, because we've been infiltrated with so many different cultures, why are y'all just speaking one language? I don't care if that ransom note came over in English. There is such a thing as Google Translator, You write it out in one language and it translates to a different language, Come on, man. Get up with the times, people. But either way, you should have translators out there speaking in their own language and addressing these people. I mean, that's what I would want to do. I would want someone who's my family. Okay, my family's speaking. They're speaking in English. Okay, now we're going to do the subtitles in 3 other languages. As crazy as that might sound, again, it's very possible that the people you're dealing with or whatever are literally in another country. The people who put this together. But it depends on what the ties are to who. That's the thing. That's just my way of thinking. I don't know. It's my own opinion. I don't know. And then to keep saying, well, we need proof of life. Again, when you're dealing with narcissistic people, they don't give a flying flip about you wanting proof of life. Not from what I've read up on them. But you got to be able to get to them. Because what they do love are games. They like to play games. So, kind of like, if you've ever seen the movie I think it's called The Four Horsemen. Anyway, about magicians. If you ever watch that movie, you might get a little more clarity. Because while they're messing with these people here, they're also messing with these people over here. It's kind of like a dog chasing its tail. That's the way it seems to me. Listen, it's either a revenge act, a political act, because or it's an association. Of course, we figured that one out, right? It's an association of someone. But again, yeah, I would go back to Nancy and literally look into everybody and anybody. Anybody or anyone she's interacted with. Yeah, I know that they're doing that. The people that liked one comment that she made more than the other, the person that may have sent her a DM on, you just never know. It happens just that fast. So, again, I'm just, you know, people are too, oh, what was they doing for 41 minutes? Oh, let me think. Well, 41 minutes. They were trying to attach her pacemaker to her new device. They were sedating her so that she wouldn't make a noise because she had already tried to run out the front door. Not run out the front door, but she probably tried to get out through the front door. And because of that, she couldn't. Because when they grabbed her back, whatever, she came back through the front door. Again, nosebleed because of high blood pressure. She was probably going out the front door when that occurred. It may have freaked the people out that had her, and they thought, oh God, now what do we do? She's bleeding. What does that mean? Is she a bleeder? Is she going to bleed to death? What's going to happen here? That could have caught them off guard too. Never know. Oh gosh, what else? I'm trying to think. There was one other thing. Yeah, like I said, they could have sedated her at that point, so it'd be easier to carry her out. She's not making a noise. She's asleep. Could have happened. There could be a whole number of things. Never know. But by the grace of God, I'm going to say she's still alive. That's just my opinion. And in my own opinion, they sedated her, and they also already had duplicated her drugs. They're not going to let her speak because that'd be too easy. Why am I going to give in to you? Kind of like, that's the way I'm thinking that they're thinking. Like, what? No, honey. I'm the one here giving you the demands. Why are you giving, why do you think you have a right to give me demands? I'm just, I don't know. Maybe I've seen too many crime stories. Maybe I've read too many books. Who knows? It's just my own personal opinion. But I'm very sleepy. Please forgive me. But I gotta go to sleep. Gotta go to work. So let's just all fast and pray for her, that tomorrow we have a good answer to our prayers. God bless her children. God bless Miss Nancy. And that truthfully, with all my heart, I'm praying that light will be shed on the darkness, and that she'll come forth out of that darkness. That's my opinion. That's all.